All right, you're not crazy. I'm right here. All right. All righty, folks. Welcome into the After Schrock. Thanks for joining us. I apologize it took me a little bit longer than normal to get here, but I'm here now, and so we're going to give everybody a few seconds to join up and get into the program before we get started, and then we can go forward and take questions and talk about all the fun stuff that's happened this week over at Schrock. I've started journaling, actually, because every day when I'm done with the day, all I'm focused on is the things I didn't get done. This leaves you with this feeling like you're never accomplishing anything. But when you take the time to sit down and actually write down the things that you got done in a day, wow. I mean, literally pages and pages and pages of things that to me were like, oh, I'll just wrap that thing up real quick. And then when you write down the complexity that was involved in making the decision, at the end of the day, you're like, yeah, there's some things I didn't get done today, but look at what we accomplished today. We actually have a business license to legally operate in the state of Iowa now. Yeah, baby. That's kind of important, right? Or, we're working on, we need more vehicles. Now we have a very thin layer of middle management to help me keep all the service centers operating the way that we need them to operate, so that they're providing great service, so that customers are getting their computers repaired quickly, and to make sure that everybody knows everything that's going on all the time. That guy needs a car or a truck or something. He needs to be able to move around. The Des Moines Service Center needs a car, so now I've got to buy 2 more vehicles. And then, I go in, and all the other vehicles, right now, if you buy a car, you can get 0% for the rest of your flipping life if you put it on your personal credit. But if you want to get it with a business, then it's 27.9% interest or something crazy. So we got hooked up with Cornhusker Bank. They're primarily out of Lincoln. They have one branch in Omaha. But Cornhusker Bank has been absolutely phenomenal. Oh, my goodness. If you want a bank partner for a pandemic, it's Cornhusker Bank. I mean, my goodness. So they're working on getting all of the existing Schrock cars refinanced and moved over to Cornhusker so we can have all the loans in one place. The interest rates are lower than the interest rate I'm paying on my house, which is just mind-boggling. And then they're going to help us get the approvals for the 2 new vehicles. And I talked to our banker on Thursday, and he says, okay, so this is what we need. We need these papers. Get them in to me. So we send in all the paperwork, and he goes, okay, on Tuesday I'm going to facilitate an introduction with, it'll just probably be easier since you're in Omaha-ish, to meet in the Omaha branch over there on Blondo. So we're going to meet there. We're going to get you an introduction with the local banker guy there who'll have all the paperwork for you to sign, and then we'll get your pre-approvals done for the 2 new vehicles, and then we'll start sending payoff checks for the other vehicles and get them moved over to Cornhusker. Friday to Tuesday. What bank does that? My gosh, that's just crazy. So anyway, it's been just a crazy week, guys. So thank you for taking the time to join us here. Thanks for all your activity on Facebook this week, guys. I mean, literally, we don't do a whole lot of social media aside from Facebook. We do a little bit of YouTube, but not much. Facebook is really where the meat and potatoes for us is at. And the likes and the shares, it's been amazing. Everyone going through the feed and making sure that they're liking things and that they're sharing it, and they're actually writing little things like, check out this cool video or whatever. I thought this was funny and you would like it, rather than just clicking share and letting it go share. When you write a message with it, it actually it becomes more important. So if you're trying to get top fan status, writing a message when you share something moves you closer to that goal, I believe. So no one really knows the top fan formula or how many there are, but we've been adding a lot of top fans. So one of the challenges we have in Lincoln is that the radio show that we air on in Lincoln, the radio station, ratings-wise, isn't doing so well as a station. Our show is doing okay. We're just not reaching new people because the station's not bringing in new people. So we're reaching the same people over and over and over again, which is good. You want to maintain a relationship once you build it. And we're not going to pull it off the air or anything, but wow, it's like we're not getting new people in Lincoln, and we're starting to see that in our numbers. The number of new customer coupons coming in is lower in Lincoln than it is in other service centers. The repeat customers are fine. Business levels are great. It's just that the new customers aren't coming in as often. So why is that? Well, we did move our service center last year, so that could be part of it. We were in the same place for a decade, and then we moved suddenly, all of a sudden people not know where you're at. We had a competitor go out of business in Lincoln. We thought that would probably help us a little bit. We never like to see that. We never like to see people failing in their business, but On the other hand, this competitor was just a few blocks from our new location, and what he was trying to do something different than what we do, in a way, and it didn't work. And so, it's rough, but we thought that would help a little bit. But we've seen a few of their computers coming in because unfortunately, when the guy when his business folded, he's ghosting his customers. He doesn't know that we want them. We want his customers. We will honor all their warranties for free. Just tell us who they are so we can contact them, and we will honor all of their warranties for free. Just let us know so we can do that. Anyway, because we want to build that relationship with people. You do something nice like that for somebody, especially during a pandemic. Who's doing something nice for anybody right now? Do something nice for somebody, they'll be your friend forever. I mean, it's wow. So anyway, we started doing some additional Facebook advertising. So one of the things you're going to see a little more of if you're watching in Lincoln is this is a test market for this, but we don't talk a lot on the radio show that we recycle for free. It's one of those almost like a secondary service that we offer. There's not really any money in it for us. It's not like we're banking on our yacht, listening to our yacht rock radio, with our recycled dollars. The money that we bring in from recycling things like circuit boards and cables. I had a guy on our Facebook challenge us on this, like, you only recycle the profitable stuff. And I'm like, well, that's not true. But the money that we get from recycling cords and circuit boards, which is pretty much the only thing that's valuable in your recycled equipment, is used to recycle the plastics and the monitors and everything else that nobody wants, that you have to pay to get rid of. So literally, we're running like a revenue-neutral recycling operation. Last year, I had tonnage reports there. I was just curious, how many tons did we recycle? It was like 27 tons of e-waste was recycled by Schrock Innovations. Little old Schrock, making that 27 tons of stuff didn't go into a landfill because we were there to handle it. That's pretty cool. We also use a certified recycler. So, we're not cutting corners here. We're using a certified recycler. Sadoff Recycling out of La Vista. They're a Wisconsin company. They operate in 5 different states. But even our Des Moines e-waste is going to be trucked back to La Vista for Sadoff to properly recycle, so that we know it's not ending up on the coast of Africa being used to build huts or something. It's actually getting recycled. And as things get a little more intense with China, recycling is going to become a lot more important. Recycling has actually been down because people are not recycling their old computers. They're repurposing them for little kids and grandkids and things like that, because the number of computers people need right now has exploded. So I guess long and the short of it is, if you're in Lincoln on Facebook, you're going to see our recycle ad. We also put up an ad for new customer coupons. Let people know that your first hour of labor is free when you come into Schrock. We don't charge you for that first hour because we want to show you. We want to have the opportunity to show you what we can do, especially if we can fix your problem in that free hour, so that way when you have a real problem later, you can come back in. We're trying some different things in Lincoln on Facebook. So if you're in Lincoln and we're constantly in your Facebook feed, let me know if it's too much, because we're trying to geo-target the ads so only people who are concerned about sustainability and recycling are seeing the recycling ad. And only people who are looking for computer help are getting the computer repair ad. So it's not just like a carpet bombing of everybody in Lincoln. It's more of a targeted, when you do a search, when Facebook creeps on you and knows that you're looking for computer repair, then you suddenly start seeing our computer repair ad. That's the hope anyway. So if that's something that is being too in your face, let me know and we'll dial it back a little bit. But hopefully we're reaching some new fans and some new friends to bring into the shop. Golly, we shot a commercial this week, guys. Did you see that? Oh my gosh. I might have to talk slower. Okay, so there was an option to turn on subtitles and it was turned off. So I haven't actually looked to see what this looks like when I'm talking, but I might have to talk slower because of the subtitles. Let's see. It might be trying to subtitle me in real time, which is kind of cool. They always do subtitles eventually on the videos so that when the volume is turned down, you can read along. So if you're laying in bed next to someone who's sleeping, you can actually read the show rather than that. I should probably enunciate my words better as well, right? Captions are auto-generated, it says. I'm waiting to see a caption. Oh yeah, I'm going to have to talk a little slower. It's definitely captioning me in real time. That's pretty awesome. Okay, cool. I'll leave that turned on for a while. All right. Good morning, Mitch. Good morning, Alan. Good to see you. Top fan, Mitch, by the way. Top fan, Richard. Good to have you. Mark, top fan. All the top fans here. Mary's here. Roger's here. 2 Rogers are here. Roger from South Dakota, though. Oh, my gosh. Roger, your governor is on fire up there. My wife and I watched the best described as a South Dakota propaganda video about how you should move your business to South Dakota and how everything is great in South Dakota and everybody has freedom and there's great things to do and scenery and all. Literally, we're watching this video like, wow, we need to move to South Dakota. Like, it looks really cool there, you know. But I've been to South Dakota. It's not that different from Nebraska. The Badlands are cool. Been there. But so welcome to the program, Roger. Cheryl and Rich in Council Bluffs. You know, funny thing, Cheryl and Rich, because you're in Iowa, you're going to get a special invite to the soft opening of the Des Moines Service Center and all of the trimmings that go along with it. So that's just a funny thing. Be on the lookout for that. We're going to contact anybody that has an Iowa zip code in our system, which is why I was telling people to make sure if you want to be invited to the soft opening for Des Moines, this is what it sounds like when I try to talk slower. Weird little awkward pauses. Yeah, and I'm watching it over here. It's so cool. No, we're going to invite everybody who has an Iowa zip code that's in our customer system, whether they've ever been into a service center or not. So you'll expect to see some contact on that pretty soon here, guys, as well. Carolyn, good to see you. We're not in Texas yet. We're working on it, okay? Maybe if your governor made a cool propaganda video, because I think South Dakota's looking pretty good right now. I'm just saying. No problem, Carolyn. All right, Winston. Thank you, Winston. The official audio checker of Compute This. Thank you, Winston. Nancy's still here. As opposed... I'm glad you're still here, Nancy. I'm glad you're still here. Charles, top fan. Good to have you, buddy. Made the jump, Alan says. Good luck getting him to slow down, says the lovely Kimberly. That is very funny, lovely Kimberly. I'm going to watch that one come up here in a second. Westbound on I-80, Homer. Drive safe, my man. Drive safe. Are you trucking? All right. I have never bought from Schrock Innovations yet, but your shows and sincerity toward your customers make me want to become a customer. Maybe this fall. KJ, when you're ready, we're welcome to have you. You know, one of the things that, with computers especially, when technology fails, it always fails in the worst possible time. So when it happens to you, when that moment comes, we'll be there to help you out. But hey, in the meantime, hang out, chill out. We love having you around. It's pretty cool. All right, so let's see. We shot a commercial this week in the Papillion Service Center. And I was expecting cameras and stuff, but I pull up outside, and literally they have this giant boom arm that is going up and down, taking like pan shots of the front of the store, doing all kinds of things. They've got the drone taking aerial shots of the service center from outside. So then I come inside, and oh gosh. So I come inside, and literally there's light panels set up, these huge lights. They're doing makeup on people. I'm like, it's like a full-on, this is like the set of Pawn Stars. Like, what happened here? It was pretty cool. But then a funny thing happened, you see. I put out a call for you guys to step up and volunteer. None of you top fans stepped up and volunteered for this, by the way. I'll have you know. And I know you saw it because you're a top fan. You all just stayed there quiet. Like you were waiting to get volunteered Army style or something. So one customer volunteered to be in our commercial, and I was thrilled to have him. His name was Dustin. He was amazing. He did a great job. Great guy all around. Works for the Wounded Warrior Foundation in Lincoln. He declined the $100 gift card that we were going to give him for being a part of the commercial. He asked us to instead donate it to Wounded Warriors, so we're doing that for him. So I mean, just a great all-around guy. So it turns out Dustin was the right-hand man for one of our largest competitors in Lincoln for 12 years. No joke. Whoa. Yeah, it was like, you got to be kidding me, right? Like, oh my gosh. And then I'm like, well, you know, this I won't say the name of the company because that's not what this is about, but the owner of that company and I, we've had our disagreements over the years. There have been lawsuits. It's been You have no idea how competitive the industry is, and the lengths that people will go to try to skim business off of somebody who's doing marketing when they're not doing marketing. But anyway, the long and the short of it is that he left this competitor about 2 years ago, and then he went to go open up the competitor that just went out of business in Lincoln. That's how I learned about all this. I'm like, oh my gosh, they went out of business? Like, I knew that they were slowed down and we had their customers coming in, but their website's still up. Excuse me. I tried to call their phone number and it just immediately picks up and hangs up, so I don't know what the deal is there. But yeah, so it's crazy because I can't even get a hold of the guy, and like he's one of my best friends. I can't even get a hold of him, so I hope he's okay. But yeah, even then, and I told Dustin, I'm like, Dustin, I'm sure we can share some stories, but I'm not going to say bad things about your previous employers, whatever, because I'm sure, you work for someone for 12 years, you get to know them, and I'm sure you guys are still pretty tight, which kind of led me like, why is he here, right? Like, why is he in a commercial for Schrock Innovations when he worked for our biggest competitor who we had a very adversarial relationship in the Lincoln area for years? We're talking like a decade of lawsuits. Why would he be here? Well, it's because he didn't leave on good terms with that guy. Oh, okay, got it. And on top of that, Dustin just thought it would be really cool to shoot a commercial, to be a part of that. And he did an amazing job. It was fun. It was laid back. Everybody had a great time. And it was really cool to spend the afternoon with a fan of the show who literally is just a really awesome person. I literally tried to hire him. Well, once I found out that he'd worked for one of our competitors for 12 years. You don't work in this industry for one business for 12 years unless you're good at what you do. Then he opened up another competitor. He tried to tell the guy what he was doing wrong, but the guy wouldn't listen. And, well, there you go. But unfortunately, he has found a home and a cause that he cares deeply for in Wounded Warriors and is not interested at this time in taking a position at one of our Schrock locations. I can't fault the guy. I mean, he was just an all-around amazing guy. So, Dustin, if you're watching, thank you for being part of the commercial. It was awesome to have you in the service center. The guys loved having you as well. It was hilarious because they were shooting the commercial and it was angled back so you could see half of the back room through the door. And everybody, all these trainees in training for Des Moines, right? And everybody was gathered on one side of the service center trying to maintain social distance, but not willing to, they were willing to risk their health rather than wander into view of that camera. And they're like, Ford, don't you want to be in the commercial? And I'm like, guys, my face is on so much stuff right now. Like, I'm on the radio shows every weekend. I'm all over the place. I don't need to be in the TV commercial. It's almost like it's the Thor Schrock channel, not the Schrock Innovations channel. I don't have a Thor Schrock channel. If I did, nobody would like me anymore. Because I'd say stupid stuff. You have a special needs daughter going back to school, and she's so excited to go back to school. So excited. She's like shaking her hands and clapping. She got to meet her teacher, and then we couldn't get out of the car though. She got to go into her classroom and see her classroom and everything. And we're just terrified the Papillion School District is gonna say, okay, nope, it's all virtual now, because you can't teach special needs kids virtually. It just doesn't work. And so, yeah, I mean, I would talk about all kinds of stuff like that, and it wouldn't be good, right? So we can all be friends here. Everybody can be friends no matter where they come from, how they do anything. I have no idea how this payroll tax thing is going to work out. The executive orders that the president signed, are we supposed to not take payroll taxes out of people's checks anymore? Is it a deferment, or is it like is it a cancellation? If it's a deferment, that means you have to pay the taxes later. I have a bunch of 20-year-old something guys working for me. Should I really not take taxes out of their checks and let them pay their tax balance at the end of the year? The libertarian part of me is like, yes, let them experience how much they actually pay in taxes. Then maybe they will vote for people who will not do stupid things that will raise their taxes. But the real part of me is like, these guys aren't going to save this money. They're not going to do it. And so I'm like, no, I don't want to be the nanny state. I don't want to be the nanny state. But these guys, I mean, they're good guys. Some of them don't have that life experience yet of, like, saving for a rainy day. They haven't had a rainy day yet. Yeah, so I don't know what we're supposed to do with that. If we're supposed to remit taxes or not remit taxes, we're probably, our accountant, I can tell you what our accountant is going to tell us. Well, I haven't even talked to the accountant yet. He's going to say, continue to pay the taxes on time, as outlined, as you were doing before. until we have official guidance that is approved and reviewed by attorneys that says you can do otherwise. That's going to be the safe way to do it. So the executive order, I'm hoping that the executive order that Trump signed actually pushes Congress to get together and do something, because it doesn't matter what side you're on this. I agree, you can't pay people more than they're making at work to stay home. We actually have had difficulty hiring people. On the other hand, since the unemployment expired, there's the 35% job deficit in IT workers right now in the state of Nebraska. That means 35% of all the IT workers in the state of Nebraska that had jobs are now unemployed and have no unemployment. And so we went from like putting up an ad and getting no applicants to putting up an ad, and now we have 1 million applicants. And we only have one position left to hire for Des Moines. We have a bunch of applicants for that. We have one position to hire for Omaha. We have 1 million applicants for it now, which is a good thing, I guess. You know, we can bring some new talent in. But yeah, so you can't have that. You can't have people being paid more to stay home. On the other hand, you know, people lost their jobs. It was no fault of their own here. I mean, this was a government-enforced shutdown. So on one hand, I'm like, you know, the free money gravy train has to stop at some point. It genuinely does, because the reason why gold is going crazy and Bitcoin is going crazy isn't because people rolled out of bed today and decided that gold and Bitcoin are amazing investments. It's because the dollar's in trouble. The dollar is weakening because we just keep money printer go burr, you know, and you can't keep doing that for very long. You know, you can do it for a little while, especially if everyone else in the world is doing it. But other countries in the world, I don't think, are doing it to the extent that we are at this point. And this is going to become a problem later, especially if China does something crazy, like comes out with a gold-backed yuan or something, and then all of a sudden the world's going to go upside down. But, yeah, so see, I would talk about stuff like that on the AfterSchrock channel, and then people would be like, I don't want to listen to this guy anymore. All right, lots of people in South Dakota come to Texas for the winter. Carolyn with the Texas comeback. All right, Alan, I have a holiday special laptop that I bought at the end of last year. What do I need to hook up 2 monitors to it? Okay, so first of all, you have one monitor that is the monitor in the laptop, and there's, of course, another adapter on the side where you can hook up a second monitor, an HDMI port. That's where you get the second monitor. Now, you also have what's called a USB-C port. And so that USB-C port is capable of transmitting video as well. So you get an adapter. We have them in the Papillion Service Center. I think they still have them in the other shops too. We're going to do our Monday inventory check to see what was sold through the week and get everybody replenished. But it's a USB-C adapter. You plug it in there, and then you plug in another HDMI cord into it. So you need to have HDMI monitors, but yeah, you could have 2 monitors, and then the center monitor is like the laptop. Or you could have the laptop off to the side and have the 2 big monitors, or you can close the laptop entirely, use a wireless keyboard and mouse, have 2 big monitors, and use it like a desktop. So there's lots of different ways that you can cut this thing up, but that's how you would do it. That's how you get the 2 monitors together on the laptop. Omer says he's going to be coming to see us when Des Moines opens. All right, we love it. We love it. That's the big thing. I have no idea, guys, no idea what to expect. I'm trying to buy inventory right now for the Des Moines Service Center, and I have no idea what to buy. So I'm like, is 5 of each computer enough? Are we going to sell a lot of computers on the first day? Are we going to sell out? Is 10 of each hard drive enough? Are we going to have a lot of people coming in to have their mechanical hard drives upgraded to solid state? The last time that we opened a service center in a market where nobody had anything that they needed was 2011 when we opened the Omaha Service Center. So, wow, 2010. So, in Des Moines, we're walking into a place where nobody has endpoint, nobody has secure updater, nobody has drive advisor, nobody's doing maintenance on their computers like they're supposed to be. Golly, everybody's still running mechanical hard drives unless they bought a computer that happened to have a solid state. Then they probably got the cheap solid state anyway that's not the 3D NAND triple layer solid state, so it's not going to give them the performance they're looking for anyway. Whew. And we're going to walk in the front door, and it's like, where do you eat the elephant first? Like, where do you take a bite? Because there's so much wrong that needs to get fixed. But on the other hand, you can't send people out the door with $700 repair bills either. And you're going to have big sales, and it's all going to be on sale, but you could only get 1 discount per ticket. So we have to figure out which discount is going to save you the most money and give you that discount. so that you can get it. And all these sales guys that we're doing for Des Moines, they are already sales that have happened for the other service centers earlier in the year. We're basically taking 6 months of sales and special offers from Schrock and compressing them into a 1 month grand opening. It's nuts. It's going to be absolutely insane. I will be there pretty much a lot. I don't even want to commit to how much I'm going to be there because it'll probably be more than what I commit to. But I'm going to be there a lot. Parker is going to be there a lot. Parker is my district manager. So the two of us will be there. We'll have the new staff in the service center as well. We did a great job. Parker did a great job of hiring really solid people, like people. And then they have tech skills as well, which is something that, we learned that lesson the hard way. When we opened Omaha, we don't have any of the staff that we originally had when we opened the Omaha Service Center. No one is the same. We learned a lot of lessons about hiring people and who to hire and how to hire and things like that. So the Des Moines Service Center is the culmination of all of that. We're launching a new online system the week before we opened Des Moines. That's what everybody from Des Moines is being trained in. So if you want to think about it this way, everyone in Des Moines has just as much experience in Schrock systems as everybody else in Schrock, because we just changed the system. So that's kind of funny. I have to make sure I know the system well enough to use it when I get there too. I can't just rely on my folks to do all the work for me. Oh golly! So we shot the TV commercial today or this week in the service centers, and as soon as I get those back, those are commercials that are going to be airing in Des Moines specifically. But we shot a lot of B-roll, and I understand there might be an outtake reel as well. So we'll definitely share that with you. But once the commercials are produced and ready, we'll be posting them on Facebook, so you can watch them there as well. Dustin will be thrilled to see it, I'm sure, but everybody else can take a look too. Yeah, it's nuts. It is absolutely crazy. The links that we're going to make sure that this Des Moines launch is going to go perfect. So let me see, what else did we do this week in the service centers? I mentioned repair volume was up. Repair volume wasn't just up; it was up 5 times week over week. The number of work orders was more than what would be considered normal. June and July are always slower months for computer repair for every business. So if you own a computer repair shop and you're watching this and your June and July is slow, August was a little slow to start too. We were a little concerned, like the first few days of August, it maintained that, we were only getting 2, 3 computers, 5 computers a day checked in each location. And then all of a sudden it was like hockey stick. Now we're up to 12 or 15 or 20 computers a day being checked in at each location. Some of that has something to do with back to school, back to work kind of thing. Some of that has to do with people needing to use up their maintenance certificates. Because your maintenance certificates that you bought when COVID hit in like March, they're good for 6 months, which means they expire in September. So you need to use them before September. So a lot of people are starting to come in and get those used up. So we're seeing those artificial pressures causing our numbers to go up a little bit. Also, people are getting their computers. This is sad to say, but people have been dealing with failures and annoyances for a while with their computers to the point where the computers are unusable now. So the repairs that we're doing are very much more serious repairs than they were before. Yes, I had to pull the power plug out of the back of my computer and plug it back in to get it to turn on every time, but I didn't think that was bad, so I kept using it. And now doesn't work anymore. That won't work. I can't turn it off and on to get it to turn on. Power supply shot. So we get you a new power supply. You're in and out same day. We can't do it much faster than that, guys. But you got to bring it in when there's a problem. So please, if you're having an annoyance, or golly, if Drive Advisor tells you your hard drive is failing, please, for the love of all the saints, bring your computer in so we can take care of it immediately. Like we said earlier in the show, it's a heart attack for your computer when something like that happens. When you get an alert from Drive Advisor that the health is anything other than 100%. That's really, really, really bad. And as a result, you're going to end up with a computer that has a data recovery or a data transfer that's going to be so slow it's going to take days. You don't want that to happen right now. So take care of the equipment as soon as you see a problem. A lot of times we can look in remotely. If you're concerned about the cost of computer repair, grab a subscription to the Schrock Desk. This is like the best kept COVID secret of Schrock Innovations is a Schrock Desk subscription. It is $30 a month for unlimited use for the household. Okay? So that means that when you bring in computers, you get half off of all labor services because you're a Schrock Desk member. So you get half off your maintenance checkups anytime you want to come in. You get half off of hourly labor anytime you need it. You get half off of on-site labor if we have to come to your house to fix something because you're a Schrock Desk member. The only thing that's really excluded from it is warranties. You don't get warranties at half price because they're not like a labor service. And data recovery because parts and equipment is required to do that job in excess of a normal computer repair. So those are the two areas that are not included in that. Everything else you get half off on. So if you're doing your maintenance like you're supposed to twice a year, and you have one computer incident a year that requires either an in-shop or an at-home visit, think like Safe Upgrade or something like that. If that happens one time a year, you are breaking even on your annual Schrock Desk subscription at $30 a month. I know $30 a month is a lot to some people, especially right now. All I'm saying is it will save you beaucoup time. So if you are in a time constriction where you cannot go without your computer working properly for a specific period of time, get a Schrock Desk subscription. It's the fastest way to get help. That way it's not $110 an hour per clock hour we're connected to your computer, which is the cost if you don't have a subscription. So having the subscription is a significant savings. So definitely check that out if it's something that you're interested in doing. Or if you, a lot of times we sell these during Christmas time, and the reason we sell them so well during Christmas is because we sell annual subscriptions that people pay. They will prepay for the whole year, and the reason they do it is because their family members need it, and they're just tired of grandma, grandpa, mom, or dad calling them when they need computer help. So they buy them a Schrock Desk subscription. So now that you can call Schrock when you have computer problems, and when you want to talk about things or talk to the kids or whatever, then you can call us. And we can have nice family time instead of family time where I fix your computer. That's my life. All right, let's take a look. Last call for questions, guys. We're going to be wrapping it up here shortly. We recently changed internet providers and no longer need the Netgear router and modem we were using. Is there a market for used equipment, and if so, what is the best way to go about selling the items? Okay, a lot of it will depend on how old your equipment is. If your equipment was expensive to buy, and when I say expensive, if you paid $150 for a router a year ago, you can expect to sell it for $30 or $40 on Facebook Marketplace. If you paid $600 for your router a year ago, you can expect to sell it for $300 or $400 right now on Marketplace. It can bring some good money. If you said you got a new modem. Let's see, we recently changed providers. Okay, so you probably switched from you went from DSL to cable, I'm guessing. So the equipment isn't something that you could reuse. Some routers can be actually, depending on the router, can be set up as a wireless access point, which makes them a repeater. And so you can actually possibly set that Netgear router up to be a repeater, especially if it's one of the Nighthawk routers. You can set it up to be a repeater somewhere in the house. That's all Cox panoramic Wi-Fi is, or you hear about mesh routers. That's all they are. It's a bunch of repeaters around the house. So you can configure that possibly to be a repeater to give you a little bit better internet coverage, or you can put it like on an exterior wall of the house to project internet into the backyard. Things like that. So they might have some use for it still. Unfortunately, like the routers and the modems and stuff, if it's a cable modem, you might have a little bit better luck moving it right now than if it's a DSL modem, because people who have DSL modems typically rent their equipment from the phone company. People who have cable modems have the option to buy their equipment, which is always a cost saver in the long run if you buy your equipment. The problem is if your equipment burns out, you're responsible for replacing it. And if you don't have a spare modem hanging around, you're down for 3 days while you wait for one to be delivered to you because nobody has them local right now. So if you don't have a spare modem around your house, I'd recommend you buy one on Amazon and just tuck it in the closet and keep it, just in case, especially if you're doing work from home or school from home. Having downtime last 3 days and having downtime last 3 hours is a really big difference. But yeah, you could try to sell it. I would try Facebook Marketplace or maybe Craigslist or something like that. Don't expect to get a fortune for it though. It's not gonna sell too incredibly high of a price. Oh, let's see. There was a story we didn't get to on the show today about China. China is now blocking all encrypted HTTPS traffic that uses the new TLS 1.3. All right. So in English, what this means is there is a new standard for transmitting encrypted data. In the past, when you went to an encrypted website, all the content you were sending, like your credit card numbers, everything like that, when you use the secure socket layer, that was being sent securely. However, information about you visiting the website was not sent securely. So for example, if you were on Gmail, it would send, this user is logged into Gmail right now and going to gmail.com, but then everything that you sent to Gmail is encrypted. So your internet service provider still knows what website you went to. They can still understand your browsing and marketing habits based on the websites you go to. They can still sell that data to third-party providers to make a pretty penny. The new TLS 1.3 encrypts everything. So your internet service provider no longer has the ability to harvest that data and sell it as easily. And in China, for example, with everything encrypted, there is nothing for the Great Firewall to latch onto to block content. So what this means is, this is one of the things that's going to cause issues going forward. Let's just pretend there were no geopolitical problems with China right now. Let's just pretend everything was just like it was in the old days and going forward. And all the big companies wanted to do business in China, and China wanted to steal all their IP and be nice and quiet about it and smile. What would happen, though, is these services in America are using TLS 1.3 to ensure data integrity. China will not allow them to do that, which means now there is a two-tiered security system. This is like locking your front door and not locking your back door and going to bed feeling safe at night. The back door is unlocked. So China right now is going to be forced to use a security encryption system that is less secure than the rest of the world, because it's the only way that the communist government can maintain an iron grip on what their citizens see and look at. Right now, some of the TLS 1.3 is still leaking through the firewall. It's getting harder to circumvent the Great Firewall as well. But it's just one of those things that, like, just one more thing, one more reason to stop and think. If you are a service provider, let's say you are Zoom, and you're using Chinese servers to store call data. People using Zoom have no idea. Everything's encrypted, right? Not so much, because it's going to China. It can't be as heavily encrypted. China won't allow it. If it was being saved in America or the UK or any Western democracy, you could fully encrypt it to an extent. I think Australia has a rule that you have to give government keys to the encryption, and the government here wants that too pretty badly. But the 1.3 encryption is gonna help stop the common criminals and help stop people from reselling your data, information about you and your family. China wants the information about their families so that they can use that to assign social credit scores and things like that. But this is just one point where if China, the internet is not built. Well, at one point Trump said our economy is not built to be shut down. Like it was not designed for that. The internet was not designed to be run by an authoritarian regime. It was designed to be a free and open marketplace of ideas. That is why, excuse me, people chafe when they believe that Twitter or Facebook are censoring the thoughts or the comments or the beliefs of one particular group in favor of another group. Even though Twitter has the right to do that because they're a private business, right? But people get upset about that because it's not fair. It's not. When we signed up with Twitter, we all had the implicit understanding this was a marketplace of ideas, a place where conversations happened. That's not what Twitter is anymore. It's an echo chamber now. Case in point, Google's AI thinks that every woman that has a mask on her face has duct tape over her mouth. I don't know who coded that into Google. That's some weird stuff. The other thing is that a hashtag, and they've stopped doing this now, but there's a hashtag for child trafficking to raise awareness for child trafficking. One of the big problems you have is when everyone's wearing a mask. What's the first thing you do when a child goes missing? You plaster their picture everywhere. Well, now everyone's wearing a mask. It makes finding a trafficked child almost impossible. And so as a result, people are trying to raise awareness that masks are hurting child trafficking control measures. So they're posting about this and they have a hashtag. Well, all the socials blocked that hashtag because they were saying bad things about wearing masks. Because it's different than what the CDC says, it is therefore banned. even though it had nothing to do with anything medical. It wasn't like, don't wear masks because they don't medically work or anything. It wasn't one of those arguments. It was, you can't find a child when their face is covered up. You know, it was just one of those things, raising awareness, and they got banned. There's a new, I can't think of the name of it right now. There's a new YouTube-like service that's coming up that's promising to be the bastion of free speech that YouTube was supposed to be. Now, if you try to share a video from that video service on Twitter, Twitter won't share anything from that domain because they say that that domain could have offensive material that violates Twitter's rules and whatever. So literally, even when other websites try to step up to fill the marketplace void for freedom of speech, the people who are the big players, the companies who are the big players, the week that they go talk to Congress about how they're just here to help everybody, they're literally shutting down these smaller competitors. They're using their monopoly to shut them down. This is what Microsoft did to Netscape Navigator in the 90s in the browser wars. That's why Microsoft got sued by the Department of Justice. I mean, it's the same thing. So it's really interesting to watch how this is all going to come down, and if the free market, if Parler, for example, which is considered the free speech version of Twitter, if you have a Parler account, it is free speech, anything goes, with some caveats. You can't threaten people. You can't, and when they say threaten, they don't mean like triggering. They mean, I'm going to shoot you in the face, buddy. You can't say that. You can't threaten people. But if you say, man, if I see one more of these videos, I'm going to kill you, that's not a threat. That's like expressing desire for you to stop making videos, okay? That's not me threatening you. Or like, we need to target these districts for, for the blue wave or the red wave. You're not actually targeting people. You're not actually going to shoot people with crosshairs on their head. You're not talking about hurting people. And so this service isn't going to, if a million people come along and say this video is scary and threatens me, someone's actually going to review the video and say that's stupid and have some common sense. Whereas right now, literally, if we got a large enough army of people together, we could all go find any video on Twitter or on YouTube, and we could basically negative it so badly that it gets banned, at least temporarily. Conservatives just don't do that, though. I mean, they just don't do it. Liberals do it all the time, and I don't understand what the difference is there. Why? You think if it gets done to you so much that conservatives would just say, fine, I'm going to do it back to you. But they never do. And then liberals, they say, well, it never happens, but then they do it. Like the TikTok thing. Have you heard about you've got to have heard about the TikTok thing by now. So the reason I have not talked about TikTok on the show is the news moves so fast that I'm worried that if I talk about it one week, what I'm saying that week when it's rebroadcast the next week will be wrong. So TikTok is owned by a company named ByteDance that is owned by a Chinese firm. It's a Chinese company. TikTok is a Chinese social media platform. They have a very similar version of TikTok that is in China that is like the translation of TikTok in Chinese, but it's not the same platform. It's one that can be heavily regulated and communist stuff and firewall and everything else. TikTok in America is open, really popular with kids, influencers, whatever else. TikTok is going to gather telemetric data about their users like every other social media platform. What device are you on? Where's your device located? Now imagine that you're a bunch of soldiers on shore leave, and you're using TikTok on your phones to shoot videos with your buddies. And now China knows your name. They know that you are a sailor in the United States Navy, and they know where you are located. Therefore, they know where your boat is located. It's one of those things like that. This is a security threat, right? It probably didn't hurt either that the Trump's Tulsa rally that was going to be heavily attended turned out to not be heavily attended because hundreds of thousands of TikTok users turned out to request tickets through TikTok and then no-showed the event. They ghosted the event to purposefully make the event look bad. I'm sure that has nothing to do with the reason that they're being singled out exclusively here to start the process. That's not exclusive anymore, by the way. But yeah, WeChat is also getting hit now. But basically, TikTok is going to have to sell their American division. So now you can't monetize it. You can't put ads. You can't buy ads on TikTok. You can't sell ads on TikTok. You can't technically TikTok can't be carried in the Google Play Store anymore. I don't even know if it's still in the Google Store. I mean, the executive order came out a few days ago, or yesterday. No, was it? No, it was a few days ago for TikTok. Sorry, there's been a few executive orders recently. I'm trying to remember it all. And I can't search for it because people keep texting me. All right. TikTok. All right. Nope, it's still there. So you can still download it. But yeah, not for long, I guess. So anyway, the long and the short there, the TikTok news is now that TikTok has been banned and everything else, they're going to fight it in court. They're going to go to court and fight it, which is going to keep them. They're going to probably get a stay, basically, what's that called? An injunction to prevent the executive order from taking effect while it's litigated in court, which could take decades, you know? So in the meantime, the problem continues. So, and there's, the CIA came out and said there was no evidence that China was harvesting data from TikTok. And there's a difference between not doing something and having no evidence of it being done, but I digress. All right, let's check the last call for questions here before we wrap it up. I don't see any others, so I think we got everybody's questions taken care of. All righty. All right, so just a quick program note to remind everybody that on the 23rd, there will be 2 different Compute This shows. So I'm probably going to skip the After Schrock that week. Just a heads up. So not the 16th, not next Sunday, but the Sunday after that, we're going to do the 7 a.m. Compute This, and then there's going to be a 2 p.m. Compute This live from WHO in Des Moines. So they'll both be on Facebook. You'll be able to see them both if you want to. There probably won't be an AfterSchrock that week. For those of you who are watching in Des Moines, we're going to do our soft open the week of the 17th. If you would like an invitation to the soft open, because it is by invite only, if you would like an invitation to the soft opening, please give us a call in any one of our service centers. I'll give you the Lincoln Service Center phone number because it's just the top one in my head, 402-423-9595. Give us a call at 402-423-9595 and just say, hey, I want to be added to the list for the Des Moines Soft Open. They'll take your name, your address, your phone number, your email, and that's all they need. And then you will get a notification when we are opening. It will be the week of the 17th. Maybe not the 17th itself. It could be like the 18th. It just depends, on if we're ready or not, if we think we're ready for the soft open. We're going to get all the staff. The 17th will be the first day that the staff is in that service center. So it probably isn't really fair to them to throw a bunch of customers at them on the first day they're in the service center. They don't even know where the stapler is yet, So we might give them a day to get familiar, kind of go through and do some finishing touches on the service center, get all their stuff set up the way they want it set up, maybe have a pizza party, who knows. So for the 18th probably, but we'll see how that goes. We'll let you know in the official announcement that will be going out next week so you have time to make plans. Thanks for joining us on the AfterSchrock, guys. I appreciate you being a part of the program. The invites, when will they go out? You've called in. Tracy, those invites are going to go out. They have to go out this coming week. So basically, we have not pulled the list yet. I'm going to have Alfonso pull me a list, which is why I want you guys to call today. Because if I pull the list tomorrow and you call on Tuesday, you're not on my list. So call today. Get on the list. You can even leave it on the voicemail if you want. But basically call in, get on the list, and then we'll pull that list. And then depending on how many, if I have 1,000 people on the list, I obviously can't call each one. But we'll send a robocall. We'll also send an email. We may send text messages as well. If you have a cell phone number, just make sure you tell us it's a cell phone number, and then we can send you text messages. But we will let you know in every conceivable way. We're also going to post it on Facebook as well. So you'll see it on Facebook, and you'll see our ads too. TV commercials should be starting the week of the 17th in Des Moines as well. So fun times there. All right, guys, have a great afternoon. We'll see you again next week on Sunday. Have a great day.